All right, protect yourself at all times. We are on it. Here we go. Ron Futrell here with the latest Las Vegas sportscast for this Thursday. Okay? Thanks for listening, by the way. Tell a friend. Let people know about the Vegas sportscast, what we have going, what we have doing. Every day a recap, an update on what's happening with the latest and greatest in Vegas sports. Okay, today we got Vegas Golden Knights. We've got the Raiders Stadium meeting that's going on right now. Let's see. We've got Rebel basketball from last night, and we got the NFL coming up this weekend. Woo! So enough for you for one day? Yeah, I think so. So anyway, let's get it started. Vegas Golden Knights off the very top. They are at St. Louis tonight. At St. Louis. Let's see, Marc-Andre Fleury in the nets. Going to happen there probably, and then Chicago on Friday, and I'm guessing that at the Chicago game will be Malcolm Subban, as Coach Gerard Gallant likes to rotate his goalies like that. And it doesn't matter who you put in the nets, the Knights win. Okay, they got an 8-game winning streak right now. They're number 2 in the NHL, behind the Tampa Bay Lightning in total points. In total points, number 1 in the West, and of course they beat Tampa Bay earlier this season. So I mean now we can start talking about home ice advantage. We're about midway through the NHL season, not quite, a couple of weeks away from at the midway point of the NHL season, but. Yeah, this is an issue to start talking about. Not just will they make the playoffs, but home ice advantage during the playoffs against which teams. Okay, best record gets home ice advantage, or head-to-head if they're tied. So, another player note. Let's see. Edward Bellemare is going to Pierre-Edouard Bellemare not traveling with the team because his wife is very pregnant, ready to have a baby anytime. May have had it by now. And in fact, that's sort of funny. I'm leaving the game the other night, the victory over Nashville, on Tuesday, walking out, and I see Bellemare walking out. I'm walking the opposite direction down the hallway, and I say, "Hey, any news yet? Have the baby been born?" And his wife is just to his right, and I made eye contact with her and looked down and saw her belly still very full, and said, "Oh, no, okay, I could have answered that question myself. No, the little one has not arrived yet as of Tuesday. She was there at the game. She was a trooper." And so anyway, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare is not making the trip. Will Carrier has been activated to take that spot. So that's what's going on player-wise. Let's see. Slight favorite, St. Louis. St. Louis minus 115 because the Knights on the road, they had one bad road trip, but the last 2 games on the road they won. They won at Anaheim and at the LA Kings, so we're able to win a couple of games here and do some great things there. So that's going on tonight. It's a 5 o'clock start, between 5:30 start. By the way, on Channel 8 tonight, we'll be able to have the latest and greatest on the segment that I do on Channel 8, Icebreakers. I'm going to look at the Sean Avery rule. Okay, we'll explain what that is for you later tonight. So, Sean Avery rule. I'll tell you a little bit what it is. Crazy madman NHL guy who decided to turn around and face the goalie instead of back to the goalie during the Stanley Cup playoffs. And what effect that had. And so they had to make a rule. You cannot turn around and face the goalie if you're a defender or you're on offense and trying to score against the goalie. So we've got that story for you. Coming up tonight, that'll be at about 6:45 on 8 News Now. Okay, Rebel basketball last night. What was uglier last night? The basketball court at San Jose State or the Rebels play? Now, the Rebels won in overtime. Rebels were 14-point favorites by tip-off. They won in overtime at San Jose State, probably the worst team in the league. And they ended up winning by 6, 82-76, I think it was the final score. And won in overtime at San Jose State. The court, okay, you just got to see the tweet that I put out. They got 4 Spartans because they're the San Jose State Spartans. So somebody drew Spartans with shields on the courts as you're facing them. But it just looks like 5 big fat dudes is what it looks like more than anything else at first glance. Maybe if you're there live, it looks better, but on TV, which is the main purpose of the court, I mean, nowadays, the courts, especially in college basketball, are getting more elaborate to promote the team. The Rebels have the new court with the Vegas skyline. It looks sharp. You might think it's a little distracting. Maybe they could have made it a little smaller. I mean, the Rams, Colorado Rams basketball court is awful with the big ram, the circular spiral in the center. That's a ram. Anyway, but this is the worst I've seen. The worst I've seen for just a distracting, ugly basketball court. The big Spartan logo at the top and at the bottom of these four looks like fat dudes. I don't know how else to describe it. But it is supposed to be Spartans with shields. So, I don't know. Okay, NFL stuff going on for you right now. 4 playoff games this weekend. Okay, 4 play, and let's go in order of how they happen. Okay, not of how good they're going to be or what they are, but Tennessee at Kansas City is the Saturday early game. Starts about 1:30 Pacific time. Kansas City 8.5-point favorites in that one, and so was Kansas City a hard team to tell, really. Up, down, backward, sideways. Started out the season great. Middle of the season was bad. Finished with a rush. So they won the AFC West. So they are there. I like this next matchup. The Saturday evening matchup at 5:15. Atlanta at the LA Rams. Rams are 6.5-point favorites in that one. Atlanta, of course, played in the Super Bowl last year. They want to try to get back again this year after that collapse against New England. But the Rams with their powerful offense, wow, it's just best offense in the NFL this year. If Jared Goff can do it once again, they have the great combination of a very good passing game, a very good running game, and a defense that is nails. So that's they got everything working right now. The LA Rams do. Okay, Sunday morning, Rams 6.5-point favorites there. Okay, Sunday morning, 10 o'clock start. That's going to be Buffalo at Jacksonville. That's a playoff game. Buffalo at Jacksonville is an actual NFL playoff game. Huh? Okay. Yeah, a little shocking those two teams made it here. And Jacksonville minus 8.5. Great defense of Jacksonville. That's the thought is that they'll be able to hold Buffalo and scoreless maybe. Who knows? But just one of the best defenses in the NFL are the Jags. And then Sunday, the 1:40 start, that's going to be Carolina at New Orleans, and the Saints, 6.5-point favorites, Drew Brees. See if he can make it happen against, Carolina. Come on, this is a team that a couple of years ago played in the Super Bowl. So they're back in the playoffs now after a collapse last season. So that'll be a good matchup. That'll be a better game, I think, than the 6.5-point spread indicates. So that's your wrap-up of the NFL this weekend. The wild card weekend is what this is. And then, of course, you've got teams kicking back right now. 4 teams with byes, 2 in the NFC, 2 in the AFC that are sitting kicking back with byes right now and doing well. So Raiders meeting today. Okay, there's a stadium meeting between UNLV and the Raiders. The Regent's talking about what's going on, and I'm watching part of it, and they talk continually about what they're going to do with logos on the field, how they get to convert from a grass to an artificial turf, and how they move the stadium grass in and out, blah, 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 and who's responsible for paying for what logos. I'm sitting there shaking my head going, they still don't have parking for this stadium. There still is no parking for this stadium. Until they address that issue, I don't think okay, you're just going to build a stadium without parking. I know part of the theory is, and I know this is what they'll lean back on. Lean back on just use MGM properties, which would be Mandalay Bay, Luxor, Excalibur. Use their properties for parking, and that's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. It tells me a few things. Number one, it's horrible planning. Not enough room. 62 acres. They have enough room for the stadium, but not room for parking. So tailgating doesn't matter anymore. So no tailgating. You can't tailgate on site and walk into the stadium. That's what tailgating is, by the way. And parking, and MGM is lusting after the idea of being able to control the parking and who goes in and out of that stadium. It becomes their stadium, essentially. Charge for parking at their place. And the charging for parking is not as much my complaint here, because when they build the stadium, it would presumably, if it had parking, if it had a parking spot, they would charge for the parking anyway. So that's not the point. But MGM is lusting after the idea of people coming in and out of their properties and having to do so and go through their properties to go to an NFL game. Do you realize the value of that? So they're building a stadium. This stadium is not being built for the people of Las Vegas. It's being built for the MGM. Even though $750 million is tax revenue from the state of Nevada. Okay? So there's my rub. There is right there. I will not get off that. I cannot get off that until because this is not a stadium being built for the people of Las Vegas, but we're being sold that it's our stadium, Las Vegas Stadium, and it's being built, for the Raiders. Okay, I got no problem with that. But if MGM wanted to build its own stadium, build your own stadium. You did that with T-Mobile. Did a great job with T-Mobile. Love T-Mobile. Love that arena there and what it's brought to the city. Marvelous addition to the city, and they control what happens around there. I think it's great, and they've done a great job with that. Thank you. But don't use tax dollars to the tune of 3 times greater than any other stadium ever in the history of the country. I'm presumably, when I say country, I'm also thinking the world. But where tax stadium, that much, 3 times more. Texas Stadium, $250 million, I believe, was the number that they paid for that in tax revenue, which I don't think Jerry Jones needed, but they did it when they built it's now called AT&T Stadium where the Cowboys play. But this stadium, again, I'm on this. I'm not getting off that. I'm not getting off that. And just say what it is. It's a stadium, and unless they can answer the parking problem, answer it before you talk about the logos and who's going to put the logos on the field. There's not even enough room for a UNLV game for parking. So get this. So you're a Rebel fan. You want to go to a Rebel football game. You got to park and pay at an MGM property, right? Okay, you following me here? Before you go to a Rebel football game, you're going to have to go and pay and stay and walk through an MGM property and use their ingress and egress to go to a Rebel football game. There's the problem right there. And nobody wants to talk about it. Anyway, but I am, and I will. I'll continue to. That's the way I see it. I'm Ron Futrell. Have a nice Thursday, everybody. Let's go see what happens with the Golden Knights tonight at St. Louis. Should be a good matchup. Should be a fun game. And check it out tonight and see if they can continue to win 8 consecutive wins. They return on Sunday against the Rangers, by the way. So the next 3 games, again, for Golden Knights, you've got St. Louis tonight, Chicago tomorrow, Rangers at home on Sunday. So that's it. All right, bye for now. Thanks for listening, everybody. Tell a friend, let them know about the Vegas Sportscast. Bye for now.